Hey guys, this is the Rain Kid here, and today I'm going to be doing RKSalutes episode 10. And I haven't done one in about a year because the last one I did was 2 months ago. But I don't know. But anyways, today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite bands of the moment, and that band is Napalm Death. Now, for those of you that don't know who Napalm Death are, Napalm Death is this influential grindcore band that has been around for years, since the 80s, and their style of music has been changing, and they even used to experiment with other genres, like in their album Diatribes, however you want to pronounce this shit. They went for a groove metal type of sound. They did the same thing with Inside the Torn Apart, and I think Words from the Exit Wound. I think that's what they did, because I haven't really listened to that album yet. But my favorite Napalm Death albums are The Code is Red, Long Live the Code, Enemy of the Music Business, and Fear, Emptiness, Despair. And it also has that song Twist the Knife Slowly. For those of you that seen that Mortal Kombat movie, you pretty much know what I'm talking about. So yeah, and they have went through some vocalists over the years, because the very first one was Nick Napalm, because he left the band, I think somewhere in 85 or 86. Then Lee Dorian joined the band, and he wasn't really on any Napalm, like on a complete Napalm Death album, until From Enslavement to Obliteration. But he was on the B side of Scum, because Nick Napalm was on the A side of that album. But what I like about them is their sound, because they sound so brutal. Especially I like the vocal delivery that Mark Greenway gives on most of their albums and stuff. I mean, it's really good, and some of the times you really don't know what he's saying, which is kind of that stereotype of grindcore saying, you don't know what they're saying, blah blah blah, and I don't care about that shit. But his vocal delivery is great, and sometimes it could sound like he's and sometimes it could sound like he's either like growling so, you know, distinctively, like he does in basically all of their albums and shit, and sometimes he'll throw in a couple of shrieks here and there, or a scream, or surprisingly they'll have a few songs, I think, that are a little bit slower and have some more rhythm to it. And for those of you that might ask me, did I listen to Apex Predator yet? No, I haven't, but I plan to listen to that whenever I can. And their lyrics, on the other hand, the lyrics just talks about like what? They touch on public and social issues, and they even touched on like what? The music business with Order of the Leech and Enemy of the Music Business, especially on the song on that album Blunt Against the Cutting Edge. I guess like in the line where he says drop the act, I guess he's talking about like, some bands that try to act all hardcore, but they really aren't. I mean, I guess that's just my interpretation of the song, and I could be wrong. And I like how their sound changed once Lee Dorian left, because they did like go with this death metal thing that is still prominent in their music, because they didn't start doing the death metal thing. Well, according to something that I read, they started that on the Mentally Murdered EP, but they really didn't go full death metal until their album Harmony Corruption, that was released in 1990 and recorded in Tampa, Florida, where most great death metal bands like Death and just a whole bunch of others that have recorded or just lived there, mainly Death, because Death kicks ass. Not the proto-punk band, I'm talking about the death metal band. But anyways, back to what I'm talking about. Napalm Death's style of music is great, but the only thing I can say is that it's not for everybody, especially if like what, nobody listens to metal, or they're not used to grindcore or anything like that. And the one thing that I like about them the most is that they even had like what, they even were recognized by Jim Carrey back in the day, but he did confuse them with but he did mislabel them as a thrash metal band, despite the fact that they've had a little bit of thrash influences, not a lot. I'm just saying some, and I guess in the early stuff or whenever. Just correct me if I'm wrong once again. But yeah, because I really like their sound. They sound pretty good, and sometimes, like what, they even have a catchy song or two, because some of the songs can be catchy even if you can't even understand the lyrics and stuff. Because despite the fact that I've listened to tons of grindcore bands like Anal Cunt and let's see, MacGruber Grind, if they are a grindcore or if they're death grind, I don't know. But yeah, this is coming from a guy that listens to that stuff. But I still need to look at the lyrics to see what the fuck they're saying at the end of the day. And most people can understand that. And some people don't even listen to this shit without reading the lyrics. And that's pretty cool. I mean, it's an option. But when it comes to Napalm Death, it's a little bit of a necessity. Depends upon which album you're listening to. And this might sound like a very unpopular opinion, but I would actually like to see them remake the whole album, like the whole Scum album, so like what, people could hear what it would be like if, Barney contributed on there, to see how his vocals would sound as opposed to Lee Dorian's or Nick Napalm's. But it would be an interesting thing, and I do have good news too. And here's something else I like about them, which is tangled with the good news. They're also doing some shows with the Melvins and Melt Banana. Yes, I wish I could go, because the Melvins are my shit, and the same thing goes for Melt Banana. So it's kind of like you have this thing where a grindcore band, a sludge metal band, and a noise type of band that's coming together to perform some shows. I think it's only 3 shows. And if there was any band that I would see live, it would be Napalm Death. Because those guys are the best. So anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up. So this is the Rank Kid here. I'll make a new video whenever I feel like it, I guess, because you know me. And my laptop is going to be, taken to that place tomorrow. But that doesn't mean it's going to be fixed tomorrow. And hopefully it won't take too long to fix. And maybe if a miracle would happen, it will be fixed in at least 2 days. Wouldn't that be something? But anyways, this is the Rank Kid. Peace.